So whenever my husband needs me to fix his clothes, I try to get to it within a week or two. But when it comes to my own clothes, so needless to say, I have a mend pile that's getting out of hand. So in today's video, I'm going to be tackling that pile, but to spice things up, I'm going to give myself a challenge to see what I can do in 4 hours. Hopefully the side effect of this challenge will be to prove to myself that taking care of my clothes doesn't take that long, but even if that doesn't end up happening, at least it's a good way to get started on my mend pile. I've grabbed all my items that I want to repair from my closet, so let's begin. Okay, today's the day that I'm going to do this challenge. I had to do it on a different day than when I initially filmed the intro because honestly I want to do some laundry so that these clothes can be clean for the video. I was watching the intro back and I noticed that I kept calling my pile of clothes my mend pile, but to clarify, some of these are actually straight up alterations. And to keep this video challenging, I'm going to do my alterations first, and then with whatever time I have left, I'm going to do the mends because I have a feeling that those will be easier. I could be completely wrong, but we'll see. And for the alterations, I'll be doing that with my machine, and for the mends, I'll be doing those by hand. When I get into the mends, I want to say that they are a bunch of little holes. And for the record, I want to state that I am pro wearing holy items, and I wear items with holes in them all the time. But the reason why I'm fixing them in this video is because as someone who's doing sewing content on YouTube, I always feel weirdly guilty about wearing stuff with holes in them. But you keep on wearing holes in your clothes, okay? But I will never judge you if you're wearing any clothing with holes in them. Okay, so the first item that I'm gonna alter are these overalls. I got them for a Greg costume for Halloween from Over the Garden Wall. If you haven't watched that, I highly recommend. But the straps are super loose. For Halloween, all I did was like safety pin the back, but then my husband had to unsafety pin me every time I needed to use the restroom. I think my plan is I'm going to create a loop so that I can feed the fabric in and kind of tie it. Let me start the clock. Can you see that? Maybe I should put it here. Are you ready? I'm talking to myself. I guess this whole thing is me talking to myself. Start. I wanted to try these on. I felt like it was only fair to the challenge if I figure out how much slack I have in these straps on camera. So I want to figure out how much slack I have in the straps before I cut anything. I have a lot of slack actually. That's about 10 inches. Okay. This is great because if I were not doing this in the challenge, this is the kind of thing that is actually so easy, but it would take me all day to do because I would just procrastinate on cutting the straps because I get so nervous. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is figure out how much excess fabric I have to make sure I have plenty of strap to create a loop and excess strap to tie a knot. If I didn't have enough fabric, my plan B was to attach a button and create a buttonhole. Sorry it's a bit blurry, but what I'm trying to do here is show that there's plenty of fabric to create the loop that I wanted, and this loop is created with about 4 inches of strap, so I still have 6 inches to tie a knot. Next, I'm going ahead and placing pins to mark where I need to cut on both sides. I'm gonna do one strap at a time, but I wanna make sure the measurements are even, so I'm gonna go ahead and measure each side while they're still attached. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I wanna make sure that the first strap will work 100% before I move on to the next one. Okay, now there's really no turning back. Oh my God, why does this make me so nervous? Like, just seeing how it's cut makes me incredibly nervous. It's cut. For the piece of strap that's about to become the loop, I'm just gonna fold over the raw edge and zigzag stitch it to finish. And that's when disaster struck. Oh gosh, something's wrong with my bobbin. That's hilarious for this challenge, isn't it? The sewing machine version of turning it off and on is rethreading the machine, so that's what I'm doing. Oh gosh, this is gonna ruin my challenge. Okay, that sounds way better. Yeah, okay. Let's see, how much time did I waste? Only like 10 minutes. Okay, let's continue. Here's that raw edge zigzag stitch down, and I didn't even remove the wonky stitches from before because this is about to be hidden anyway. Next, I folded that piece of strap over to create my loop and sew that in place. Now that my loop is finished, I'm going to finish the other raw edge of the strap. I just folded it over in a triangle shape to make it easier for me to feed that strap through the loop. Okay, honestly, you would get a cleaner finish if you basted this in place first. Yeah, this stitch is not straight, but I mean, honestly, I think it'll work. Let's see. Yeah, this makes it so much easier to thread this and then you tie it. So let me try it on and make sure it works. There's pins on the other strap, so I want to make sure I don't get pinned. Yeah, this works. And then I can just tie a knot. Yeah, this works. And I actually have more slack to work with. Let's see. It's cute. I like it. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, now I just have to do the other side. I was lost in my own little world. I forgot that there was a challenge. Okay. How could I forget? Okay, so one of my greatest nightmares as a sewist happened. There were 2 pins on this strap and now there's 1. So there's a pin just floating around somewhere. I heard it. There it is. Okay, so, but it kind of sucks because that marked where I had the pin before for the loop. I think it was just 4 inches. Yeah, that looks right. So I just repeated those steps again for the other strap. I'm gonna skip over all that and show you the before and after now so the video isn't way too long. So we got 3 hours and 30 minutes basically, so I got that done in 30 minutes. The next garment I'm gonna work on is these pants that I thrifted. I think a lot of these actually I thrifted. So the green overalls I got from Depop, and then the ones that I'm about to work on I thrifted, and the next one actually I thrifted as well. Anyway, these pants that I'm working on next, they are silk, and the problem is the lining is polyester and it shrunk. That's probably why it was at the thrift store. And so I haven't been wearing it because the lining is sticking out from the hem and it's like a scalloped hem. It almost makes it even more obvious. Well, I guess if it was a straight hem, it'd be pretty obvious too. But in any case, it kind of messes with like the cool like scalloped detail that this is supposed to give. Oh, and it has this like kind of attachment to the lining. I'm gonna have to shorten it so that I'm gonna have to redo that as well. The hem needed to be 3 inches shorter, so I actually cut 2 inches off so I could have an inch of hem allowance. So I just cut both hems, pinned them, and sewed them pretty quickly. I still needed to replace the French tack, which is the tacking that attached the pant fabric to the lining fabric. And these pair of pants also had a loose hook and eye, but both of those things I wanted to do by hand. So I moved on to the next and final alteration. At this point, only an hour had passed, so I was feeling pretty good about this challenge. I feel like I have a lot of time. I did those last 2 in an hour. Well, okay, I didn't actually finish this, but I'm making pretty good time. But I had no idea what was gonna happen next. So this camera is completely out of battery, and this camera is halfway. Oh gosh. We'll get there. Okay, so this one is one of my favorites. I haven't even worn it yet, but it's a DKNY Jeans brand wrap skirt I found at the thrift store, and I love it so much, but it is definitely too long for me, so let me try it on and see how much I should get rid of. Okay, so the skirt is definitely giving Yes Chef vibes, but I'm going to shorten it so it fits me a little bit better. I ended up needing to take 7 inches off the hem of this skirt. I pinned it in place and then pressed it to give it the cleanest finish. This was a linen cotton blend, so it pressed so beautifully, and you can tell I'm super excited about this. Just look at my face. I was marking exactly where I wanted to cut the skirt when this happened. So this camera is completely out of battery, and this camera is halfway. Oh gosh. Well, I'm kind of torn because I want to get footage of me cutting this. So I'm wondering if I should wait, but I don't want to wait. Since that camera is charging and I want to get some up close shots of me cutting that fabric, I'm going to do some mending, which I think would be cool to get close up shots, but I don't really need to. So this green long sleeve shirt is my travel outfit. For some reason, it's always what I wear when I get on planes. And I noticed that it's getting a hole in the sleeve here, probably because I like always tug my sleeves down to like grab onto handles and stuff when I'm in like public, like to go to the restroom or something. Like I never want to touch the handle. So I'm going to mend that hole. And I also saw this little baby hole somewhere in the same sleeve. Oh, there it is. So I'm gonna mend this hole. So there I was, only an hour and 15 minutes into my challenge, down to one camera, which was quickly dying. While I mended this sweatshirt, I thought about how maybe this challenge was a little ambitious for someone with scrappy camera equipment and less than 200 subscribers. Anyway, if you hit that subscribe button, it would really help me justify dropping more money on better filming gear. I think that's pretty good. It's not my best work, but it's not bad. This battery's pretty low. Okay, I'm gonna plug this one in and I'm gonna get that other camera and continue, I think. So I've taken a little bit of a break and eaten a snack, but I've kept my timer going, and honestly, that's because I don't wanna work past 6. So we're just gonna keep going. I'm filming on my phone. Hopefully my camera charges before my iPhone storage runs out. So yeah, we'll see. Let's keep going. I went back to my wrap skirt and went ahead with cutting the fabric where I had marked it previously. After that, I was around the 2-hour mark, so halfway done with this challenge. I pinned the hem and I had a very important message to share as I started sewing. This is black thread and this is a navy fabric. So obviously those don't match, but if you're looking at my hem that closely, you need to back up. I know this is thicker than the original hem, but this fabric is so breezy that I feel like this thicker hem might give it more weight, which might make the skirt sit more nicely. So I'm gonna try it on. Actually, no, before I try it on, there is this little hole here. There's like a pleat in this skirt, and I think when someone was wearing it, maybe it ripped a little bit. So I'm gonna try to stitch this up real quick before I try it on. I finished that pleat up, and here's the finished skirt. And the next step for the black pants, going back to those again, is I'm gonna do that tailor's tack between the lining. So I have to do that 4 times. Time check again, only about an hour and 30 minutes left. To do this French tack, I'm starting with my thread doubled with a knot at the end. Next, I'm taking a stitch near the hem in the seam allowance. I'm doing this so it doesn't show on the outside of the pants. After I take that first small stitch to secure my thread, I'm starting another stitch, but I don't pull the thread all the way through, so I have this loop. Now I'm using my thumb and index finger placed through the loop to grab the thread tail and tightening it to create another loop. I'm just going to repeat that until I have a thread chain about 2 inches long. I just recently learned that this is also how you crochet by hand, so you could also think of it that way. When the thread chain is long enough, I just pull my needle through the loop to close it. Now I'm straightening out my fabric to make sure everything is relaxed before I secure the thread chain on the other side to the lining. The goal is to have the thread chain just keep everything in place, but it shouldn't be pulling on either fabric. So I just repeated that 4 times to finish this last alteration up. I only had about an hour left to finish 5 mends, and I was doubting my ability to finish them before the time ran out, so I really locked in for these. So I quickly mended up these sweatpants. Might need to give that a press later, but it's looking pretty good. Next, I mended this hole in my favorite gray t-shirt. Racing the clock like this really helped push me out of my typical perfectionist state. I'm pretty new to mending, so I doubted my abilities, but with this challenge, I didn't have time to do all that. It was just me, this holy shirt, and my needle and thread. That actually doesn't look so bad. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Okay, less than an hour left. Okay, I have 3 more pieces left. I wonder if I can finish them before this is over, actually. I wonder if people are gonna be mad that this was too easy Please don't be mad because honestly I have no idea what I'm doing. I just checked my camera is charged, so let me set that up. Okay, welcome back to this view. Things probably look way messier than they were last time. It is chaos. So I'm trying to decide if I should use brown or gray for this tan shirt. I'm kind of leaning towards brown. I breezed through mending this brown crop top, still feeling pretty good about this challenge. That's so cool. Okay, cool. And then I moved on to stitching up a small hole in this cream long sleeve when this happened. That closed up nicely. Oh, okay, this iPhone is out of storage. Okay, this camera doesn't say it's fully charged, but I'm nearing the end of this video, so hopefully it's good enough. Wow, okay, so that's the second to last piece, and we still have 30 minutes, so I do think I'm gonna finish this before the timer runs out. Despite my struggles with filming, I was still making great time as I started my last mend, which were these holes in my favorite pair of black leggings. Wow, all done. Let me see how it looks. They don't look too bad. It's not like perfectly smooth, but I think I've strengthened the seam enough there. That's pretty cool. And I have 23 minutes left. So I guess with those 23 minutes, I'll film the outro. Okay, so I finished the challenge and I had about 22 minutes left. So I would call that a success. I am actually pretty impressed that I was able to finish that many mends and alterations within that time frame. And I'm also a little bit disappointed because that means all the time that I spend procrastinating on doing that is kind of silly because it actually does not take that much time for me to take care of my wardrobe. I'm also kind of amused because I think the hardest part about this challenge for me was filming it all. You saw my cameras were dying, my iPhone ran out of storage, my laptop currently sounds like it's about to take off. Please subscribe if you enjoy this video because I think it's gonna be a nightmare to edit. And also a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. I told myself in November that I wanted to post consistently for 6 months. That was my goal. And with this video, I've hit that 6-month mark. And I'm really enjoying YouTube so far. I'm gonna continue to post every other week until the end of the year. I think that'll be my next goal. Yeah, I think I gotta go because my laptop really sounds like it's gonna take off like any minute now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.